We are the longest running theater of color in the United States. I like to say that we like to produce stories that tell American stories through the lens of Asian Americans. And a lot of our productions tend to be written by, directed by, and acted by Asian American artists. So thank you all for coming here today to watch this production. Theater for Youth, we tour productions throughout the city of LA, and sometimes outside the city of LA like we are today, to different middle schools, high schools, and new this year we are also going to libraries and the Boys and Girls Clubs. So we're starting that actually not next week but the week after, where we will be going to 4 different, I believe now, 3 or 4 different Boys and Girls Clubs locations. So that is really exciting for us to be able to do that. And some colleges as well, just like you guys. What I like to say before we start the show is that I like to talk the kids through the different themes of the show. So we do talk about bullying in the show, but it's not like your typical what you learn in class bullying, where it's straightforward as name calling, being pushed around, so on and so forth. But it can be subtle, and it's understanding what the signs of bullying are. And the bully isn't always the person in class who's as straightforward as being the big tough guy and being mean to you. It can be someone as subtle as your friend, someone you're in a relationship with, someone that is in your family, and understanding what those kinds or what those signs of bullying are. So feel free to react. We always encourage our audience members, the students, to react, especially to our rap battle in the beginning. Have fun with that. Choose someone that you want to cheer on for. Totally fine to do so. You can also just feel free to laugh, whatever it may be offended, gasp, whatever it may be. We want this to be a fun experience for you all, as it is for us. So afterwards, I know there's going to be a talk back. So as we go through the show, think of some good questions. All right. Thank you all so much, and enjoy the show.
This story, like most stories, begins with a rap battle. Our first opponent is Benny, a high school senior who has a chip on his shoulder the size of a football.
Hey, you got the juice. You got the juice.
He's up against his younger brother Han, who skipped a grade and is also a senior, and has no idea what he's doing on the schoolyard.
Hey, do I have to be here? I just want to watch
2
it.
rounds, no mercy. Let's battle.
Okay. All right. Okay. Look, nerds and geeks are respected nowadays on the street by the guys and by the ladies. But my younger brother Han here looked like a stereotype from the 80s. Coke bottle glasses, just as awful as his whack head as greasy as a Big Mac. Stupid shoes like he had a job interview, and clothes. What are those? The Marshall's clearance bag?
I have a gift card. Okay, alright. You may call me out for how I look and for the first round. You know, that's a good start. But teasing me is like teasing yourself, because most people can't tell us apart. You think you're tough with your face like this and make a face like you're all smug. But your aggression is depressing, because all it's expressing is that you're an insecure thug.
Okay, all right. Okay, look, girls young and old, they be wanting a guy who can take charge, conquer and destroy. Behind here cannot please a woman because he's just a little Asian boy. When I say little, I mean little, because if you try to find it, you'll fail. I wonder if my brother could ever find a lover, because under the covers, he's not a male. No. Spitting fire, I know.
Benny thinks he knows what all women want, and he tries hard to teach me, his younger brother. But the only women it seems that he knows how to please ain't a chick, it's our mother!
What's wrong with that?
He's remedial class for a bummer. He'll be in class with teacher while I'll be at the beach for summer. You're just cool in school, but in reality reality, you're dumb and dumber.
Right here.
No.
Come on. Why are you trying to embarrass me, man?
Oh man, I thought that was the whole point of a rap
Oh,
battle.
you thought that was the whole point of a rap battle? There's no way you and me brothers. You gotta be adopted.
Okay, well that's entirely false because our birth record's actually.
Why you gotta do that?
Do what?
Use 10 words instead of 1.
I don't really know what you mean. So.
Oh my God. Mom and Dad probably found you on the ground in some Chinese village.
Whoa, whoa. Okay, you're just mad because I did so well.
Because they feel sorry for you.
Well, that's probably true, but I still emerged triumphant.
Wow, you sound like a robot. Maybe that's it. You're half human, half machine.
Okay, well, technically a being with both biological and artificial parts. It wouldn't be a robot, it would be a cyborg. Okay,
I'll give you this one, okay? But in everything else, I'm a winner, you're a loser.
Okay, even if that were true, winning is kind of overrated.
Being a loser gets you beat up at school.
Hey, I have reported all of my tormentors to the proper authorities.
Stand up for yourself every once in a while.
I don't have to. There are school policies and procedures in place for a reason.
But girls like a guy who's smart, okay?
Yeah.
But he's extra. And that's why all the ladies love me, and you still kissing on your pillow every night.
All the ladies, maybe you should just focus on your girlfriend.
I can't help it if all the dames on campus thirsty.
Just doesn't seem very respectful to Rebecca, if you ask me.
Nobody asked you. And if you ask me, I can teach you how not to be so awkward around girls.
I'm focused on my schoolwork, and I'm perfectly happy being unattached.
Why you always crying then?
I'm not always crying.
Okay, because every year, you're asking girls out to the school dances, and every year, you're fumbling, and I see you. Go up to your room, lock the door, and go, why? Why? Is this alright?
Ew, germs. That's just really rude. Okay. You're not better than me.
Dude, how could you say that? I'm a million times better than you. Real talk, I'm gonna make something of myself.
Well, I plan on doing the same.
Oh yeah? Are you gonna be a doctor? There's a million Asian doctors. I'm gonna play football, man. I'm gonna be a trailblazer, dog.
Okay, you're vastly underappreciating my abilities. Yeah, you don't know me. You don't know me at all.
You don't know me.
Oh, well, I think I know enough. You're stupid.
You're weak.
Okay. Oh my God.
Betty and Han weren't always at each other's throats. When they were younger, they were a united front.
Ha!
A united front against those who looked at them with suspicious eyes.
Ha!
Against the name-calling and racial slurs hurled at them on the daily.
Ha!
Against the shoves.
Ha!
Against the punches.
Ha!
Against the kicks.
Ha!
Against anyone or anything that would threaten this brotherhood.
Ha!
But things are different now.
Okay. Tell me I'm better than you.
Okay, I'm
Say
ready.
it.
Done. Get off.
Okay, then you're gonna die.
Boys! How many times do I have to tell you, don't kill each other?
Started it.
No, Mom, he always does.
What would your father say if he saw you two like this?
Dad's not here, so.
It don't matter.
All right, I've changed my mind. Go right ahead and kill each other.
Okay. You wouldn't last one day being me.
What? You memorize some long words, okay, and read books. Anyone with a memory can do that. You're not smart, you're just good at Simon Says.
Okay, again, you're vastly underappreciating my abilities.
You wouldn't last a week being me.
Wait, what? All you do, man, is run around and then tackle other guys. It doesn't mean you're an athlete, it just means you're dumb enough to do it.
Why don't you come to practice with me for a week then?
Your coach wouldn't let me do that.
Hey, let me worry about coach. If I can get permission, will you do it?
All right, well then you have to help me and my group with our science fair project. Whatever learn research we need done, whatever grunt work that's necessary, you have to do it. I bet you're not smart enough to last a week.
I'll take that bet.
Ooh. Okay, what are we betting?
Whoever lasts the longest wins. If I win, you do my homework every week for the rest of the semester.
Okay, if I win, I get your PS4 for the rest of the semester?
No way, man.
Oh, wait, so, let me get this straight. You think you're gonna lose?
Hey, no.
That's right. No, I think that is right.
No!
No? Then take the bet. Take the bet.
Look, when I was in middle school, like 6th or 7th grade, all the kids, they were talking about Marvel or DC. Or they're trying to shoot people up in GTA or Call of Duty number, whatever. But I care about superheroes. And I didn't care about holding a virtual gun. I was all about the NFL. That's right. That's the National Football League. For those of you who don't know sports, from a hole in the wall. Because there's nothing more American than competition and conquest. See, to win, you gotta be strong. To win, you gotta be tough. To win, you gotta be a man. Be a man! See, this ain't baseball, where you politely tag a dude out, or soccer, where you're just maneuvering around guys. This is football, fam. A collective effort of ankle taps, chop blocks, and gang tackles. And like any other kid at the time, of course, I idolized the greats. Your Calvin Johnsons, your Peyton Mannings, your LaDainian Tomlinsons. But the guys I really looked up to, they were Asian American like me. Well, a little more jacked than me, but you know what I'm saying. Guys like this, Eugene Chung, who played for the Patriots. And then there was Kevin Casbahan, and he was playing for the Bengals. And then, third on the list, Junior Seau. And at the time, he was playing for the Chargers. And of course, there was Troy Polamalu, playing for the Steelers. Hey, yo, go long, man. No. Longer. No. Keep going. That's right. And last, but not least, a Vietnamese brother himself, Dak Wing, playing for the Cowboys. See, there are more, and the list goes on, which tells me that guys who want what I want out of life, a career in the NFL, it's possible. But the guy I really looked up to, the guy who I looked up to most and still inspires me to this day, Walter Achu. Everyone called him Sneeze, because Achu sounds like Choo. That's right. See, Walter Achu, he went to the University of Dayton in Ohio, a star athlete, a triple threat in baseball, track, and football. After he left the program, he played for the Dayton Triangles as both a running back and a defensive back in a time where something called the Chinese Exclusion Act was going on.
No, no, no! The Chinese must go!
Walter Achu, a pioneer, born to a Chinese father and Hawaiian mother in the island of Oahu in Hawaii. Walter Achu, pioneer.
Practice of hero worship to be like rather off-putting, so I don't put my faith in people. I put my faith in ideas.
Nerd.
Studies show that as we grow older, our ability to remember new things and take information declines. That is because the brain does not have enough space for things anymore.
Whack.
I expected that. So, at my young age, I have to be careful what I allow into my brain. I don't want to waste that space on things that don't matter.
Each and
remember my brother Han, right?
Yeah. Freshman year, I asked the students to give me 10 push-ups. He passed out and had to call an ambulance. Well, heat stroke is a real thing. It was the middle of winter.
Look, he just wants to play for a week, see how he likes it.
I don't think there's enough insurance in the world that'll cover the injuries he's sure to have.
Who told you you could rest? That's unfortunate. I guess that's
Hey,
it.
come here. No. Look, Raymond Dominguez, he's out this week. You put on his helmet, you put on his uniform, nobody will be able to tell the difference. Except the fact that you suck, and he's great.
Okay, all right, okay, I'll do it. What do you suggest?
We start with strength and stamina.
Okay. How do you suggest we go about that?
We gonna run.
Ooh, I don't like running.
Run!
No.
Run! Hey, run! Let's go!
my
Let's
God!
go! Let's go, baby!
Wait.
That's it.
I just didn't
I
catch
didn't
my
know you
breath.
could stop.
I just didn't catch my breath.
Oh, so I win the bet?
No.
Oh, so you're quitting?
No.
Then when I ask for laps, I want laps. Let's go!
Hey, Mrs. Lee. Hey, what's up? Do you remember my brother Benny?
That's good.
Oh, I remember. Sophomore year, he believed an acceptable experiment was setting his farts on fire.
For real though, that was dope.
If by dope you mean disgusting, then yes, it was dope.
Well, Benny's much more mature now, and he wants to help with my science fair project this week.
Why would you want to decrease your chances of winning?
I'll teach. That's harsh.
As you wish.
So what's this stupid project all about?
No, be quiet. Let's not get ahead of ourselves here. First, we need to train your brain to think in a way that is conducive to what we're working on.
Huh?
We need to increase your brain's processing speed. We gotta get you thinking like a scientist.
How we gonna do that?
Well, one way is for you to learn a completely new skill that is outside of your comfort zone.
Nothing's outside my comfort zone, man.
You're gonna knit a scarf.
I'll take that back.
Okay, here.
Hell nah, man, that's gay.
Oh, hey, don't say that. That is just that's so inappropriate.
What you trying to make me do is inappropriate.
I bet that this would have a direct correlation to improving your football skills. I mean, manual dexterity is important, right?
Playing around with a ball of yarn like I'm a pussycat? Nah, man.
You kind of have to do it.
I don't have to do anything.
You don't have to do anything. Okay, wait, so 2 plus, that means you're giving up.
No.
So that means, wait, I win the bet?
Hey, no. Whoa! Hey, good. Fine.
We're the best, we can't be beat. We will never accept defeat. Wildcats, go Wildcats! Woo!
My brother wants me to sit down, like a grandma, and do arts and crafts.
Well, what's wrong with knitting? I mean, it might help you with your hand-eye coordination.
I'm a guy. I like being a guy. Plus, you dated me because of the male persuasion, you know what I'm saying?
Oh my God. You are so ridiculous sometimes.
Hey, men should do men things, okay? And women should do women things. When you cross those streams, that's how things get out of whack. That's how civilizations fall down.
Okay. You want to see how civilizations fall? Go look in a mirror.
That's cold.
When did you turn into such a caveman?
Hey, don't you want to protect her?
Sure. Yeah, but there's always room for like a little sensitivity.
Oh, like you want me to sit down with you and then watch the Hallmark Channel and then cry?
I mean, yes, okay? That would be really nice. But it has tomorrow, okay? I'm going to Jessica's tonight.
Hey, where you going?
Just to her house.
You guys should hang out somewhere else. I don't like you guys being there.
Why?
She's got those two shifty-eyed brothers. I don't like the way they look at you.
Frank and Giacomo, they're harmless. You're so paranoid.
Hey, you're my girl, though.
And you're my boy, though. And if you were more secure in your masculinity, you'd knit me a scarf.
I'm secure.
You can't take Benny off our science fair project.
He's refusing to do the work.
Actually, he's doing exactly what you told him to do.
Wait, what?
Seriously, he's knitting.
Shut up, what?
I mean, it resembles a bullwhip more than a scarf, but at least he's trying.
Okay, why is it so important to you that he help out with our science fair project?
I don't know, you're a good influence on him.
Thanks. I think you're a good influence on him.
Thanks, that's really nice.
I love you.
What?
What? Whoa. I meant that I love how you care about my brother. That's what I meant. Oh, I love that, not you. Bye.
All right. Drop to the ground and give me 50, man.
We've done push-ups, man. We've done laps. If I actually have to be here with you, you might as well just teach me something about football.
Hey, you do push-ups like a girl, you run like a girl. You might as well be a girl, man.
Okay, just enough of this strength and stamina training. Let's get down to the game.
Without strength and stamina, you're gonna get slaughtered.
Hey, I am much more resilient than you think. Hey, if you don't want to actually teach me anything about football, then I will push through these lame train exercises, win the bet, and get your PS4 to play Minecraft all year.
What are you, 10?
What would Walter and Chu do?
What would Walter and Chu do? Right, okay. I guess that's a good place to start. But Walter Chu started as a running back, okay? So why don't you take the ball? Hey, yo, Kevin! My brother and I are doing drills, so if you could, exactly, you know what I mean? Hey, I'm gonna snap you the ball. He's gonna try to tackle you. Got it?
Okay.
All right, great.
Yeah.
Let's get it. Here we go. Set. 342. Height. Woo! Again, baby. Again, come on. Again.
Again?
Hey, you need to learn how to take a hit. Be a man.
Okay.
Let's go.
Oh, it hurts.
Dude, we just got started.
Oh, dude, it hurts.
Where?
Everywhere.
All right. Are you crying?
I'm in pain.
Dude, you're embarrassing me. Why you crying?
I feel my feelings, man.
Feel your feelings on the inside, bro.
You're so mean to me.
Yes, what's your question?
This is the science project.
This is the science fair project.
This is a football helmet.
Well, the football helmets that the NFL players have been using have been pretty much the same for the past 40 decades.
Yes, no significant changes, even as evidence of CTE continues to accumulate year after year.
CTE, chronic traumatic encephalopathy.
Right, I knew that.
The number of former NFL players to suffer from some sort of CTE?
99%.
Right.
That's all.
The enemy is not football. I'm just trying to, as they say, build a better mousetrap. But in this case, the mousetrap is a football helmet. You hold in your hands the first helmet to handle impact since the inception of the game. The shell of a stand football helmet is rigid. So when you take a hit, the impact of the force slams directly into the helmet, slamming directly against the head. Now the impact on the cushion on the inside absorbs some of the shock, but not enough to reduce the potential of CTE. Now, our prototype helmet has a helmet shell that is flexible. So when you take a hit, helmet morphs its shape, allowing it to absorb much more of the shock. Now the problem with this is that we need to find the exact ratio of rigid material to flexible material. It needs to be rigid enough to push back against it, but flexible enough to absorb most of the shock.
Fired up! Take control! Domination! That's our goal! Wildcats! Wildcats! Go! Wildcats!
Okay, yeah, you're right. Our project, it's riddled with problems.
Well, I think our main problem is that we can't test out our different helmets on real people.
Yeah, you know, I wish we could just like line up our entire football team, have them try different helmet designs, and I can bash them all over the head with a hammer. But, you know, I guess that wouldn't be ethical. We're basically gonna lose the science fair.
Not necessarily. Last year, for the science fair project, I invented a small impact sensor, so I was trying to make a case that could take a beating.
That is really cool.
Thanks, I thought so too.
I am so glad you're on our team.
Me too, I really like this team. You're awesome.
You're awesome.
Yeah, you do.
I like you.
I like you.
No, I mean, like, I really like you.
What?
The hell is going on here, man?
Whoa.
What the hell is going on, bro?
I've been looking for Rebecca.
What?
What? No.
I've been checking up your phone. I knew something was up. You haven't been responding.
Well, I've been too busy to respond.
Oh, too busy getting with my brother?
What? It's not like that.
Yeah, calm down, Benny.
Hey, when I text you, I need you to text me back right away. That's the way it's gonna be.
Honey.
That's the way it's gonna be from now on. I need to know where you are at all times.
Are you kidding me?
What do you have to hide?
Nothing. Okay? I've nothing to hide. There's nothing going on between me and Han. He's like a brother to me.
You're not gonna hang around alone with my brother anymore.
Hey, we were just working on the science fair project because you haven't been of any help all week.
Hey, you're not gonna hang around with my brother unless I say so. That's that.
You don't control what I do or don't do.
I do, though.
No.
I do.
I'm leaving.
Hey, you're not going anywhere.
Hey.
You're not leaving until I tell you you can leave.
No! Don't you dare. We're done here, okay? I'm done with you. Done! Do you understand?
Hope you're ready to give up your PS4 for the week because the week's almost through. I can take a hell of a lot more than you thought I could, huh?
Walter Chu was also a defensive back, which means he had to stop running plays.
Is that what we're doing today?
That's what you're gonna do today. Now I'm gonna run the ball, and you're gonna try to stop me. You stop me, Heim? You be a man. Again! Again! Again!
Wait, I need to take a break.
Breaks are for losers.
Wait, Benny.
When I ask for more, I want more. Come on now, let's go. Let's move, man. Huh?
Concussion. Noun. From the Latin word concussio.
Hi.
A concussion is a mild traumatic brain injury caused by a bump, blow, or jolt to either the head or body, resulting in the brain to move rapidly inside the skull.
Hi.
The effects of a concussion range from minor symptoms like nausea, headaches, or confusion, or, in some cases, major conditions like a coma.
Dad wasn't around, so he doesn't know how to take a hit.
You think taking a hit makes you a man?
Makes me something.
Okay. You believe what you want to believe. But your beliefs, they have no power. They have no control. They don't make Han stay in a coma. They don't make him wake up. Your beliefs, they do nothing except live in your heart. So to me, to your brother, to your father, your beliefs, they mean absolutely nothing.
When I, Walter Chu, also known as Steves, was being described earlier in this play, I was called a pioneer for my participation in the NFL. But if you look at my career stats, which span just 2 years, it will be difficult to be impressed. I only caught the ball for 27 yards, ran the ball for an additional 17, missed the field goal kick once and made one incomplete pass. That's it. Compared to my peers, compared to the Danger Triangle team members, my impact on the game itself was small. But I didn't join the NFL to be better than everyone else. I didn't play football as a way to satisfy a need to win. I played for the love of the game.
Imagine being Walter Chu and getting tackled wearing nothing but this. I mean, his head could have split open like a watermelon hitting the pavement.
We come a long way, huh?
What are you doing here?
Can't you apologize?
To make me feel better, or to make you feel better?
Both?
Go ahead then.
I'm sorry. For everything. We don't have to talk no more. We don't have to hang out. I just wanted to work on the science fair project for my brother.
Well then, get to work. This is the moment where Benny started to cry. We're not going to show it here because he's still coming to terms with the fact that he has emotion. He cried, yes, for his brother who suffered a brain injury that put him in a coma. But, interestingly enough, he was also crying for himself, for reasons he didn't totally understand.
As this semester transitioned into the next, I kept playing football, but with a different attitude. I stopped looking at it as a blood sport and started thinking about sportsmanship. And I continued to work on the science fair project with Rebecca.
That helmet, this prototype, I mean, I think we're really close.
Close away
Close to finding a balance.
between function and form,
Yeah,
between rigid material and flexible material.
yeah. You keep working on this science project. I mean, you must really want to win.
I don't care about winning. I just want to figure it out. Asian American men on top, they're not as manly as other races. But you rather be weak, as people say to be, or go out there and put on brave faces. But moderation is key, finding the balance between the strong and the soft, and the brave and the broad. And I will do me like I do me, and I will let you do nothing but you.
I told y'all I played football for the love of the game, but I can tell you what I loved about it so much. There's so many things, but The number one thing, the main thing, is this. After each down, whether you progressed a few yards or experienced a setback, whether you caught the ball or fumbled it, whether you were playing offense or whether you were playing defense, well, after each down, you go back to the line of scrimmage. You meet your opponent at the neutral zone, and no matter what position you are, no matter who you are, you begin again.
All right, let's give them another round of applause. My name is Giovanni Ortega. I'm the director of the piece, so thank you so much for, well, it's my class. Most of you are my class, so you had to go. I do want to bring out the cast. Matt Fuentes, Rachel Marsh, Andrew Trung. And Jade Kagalawans, our arts education director at East West Players. And shout out to Jamie Mills and Yuko Ishikae, stage manager and sound. Guess what? We have the playwright and the rest of the design team. So Prince Gomobilis, come on. Effie Yang, the scenic designer, and Sherry Linnell, our costume designer. Took her out of her sabbatical to come back on camera. So we just want to take, about 10 to 15 minutes to have a discussion. I'll start the conversation. How's it been? This is the first time I've seen the show.
Well, in a while.
In a while, right? So
Since we first started this
since this is the first show I've seen.
Yeah.
And just the background, they rehearsed for 11 days. It's an 11-day rehearsal, 3 hours per rehearsal. So kudos to this amazing cast. How's it been? How's the response from the students and the kids?
It's good. It varies depending on the age group. So we've been doing the show for some middle schoolers, and it's so fun. It's so fun to do it in front of 5th and 6th graders, but it's still fun to do it in front of college age and high school students too. Just gets a different response.
Totally.
Yeah, with a younger audience, they react at everything, like every single line. There's like,
You have to stall.
what's that?
You have to stall.
We do. There's like gaps between everything because they're just reacting like, oh, he said that? No. And they're like 10, so
Yeah.
it's cool.
Matt?
Yeah, this is the first college that we've done, so. But yeah, we were able to go to Jade's alma mater for middle school, and that was really exciting because a lot of the younger kids would come up to us after and say things like, because there aren't that many Asian American like role models, especially like an actor that you can look up to. So I think it was just very, very nice and rewarding to like see that like whole come.
The high schoolers are like, I'm too cool for this.
Yeah.
Totally get that vibe from them. And then I realized today going back to a college, it's like, more accepting than high school. It's like we went back to middle school performance in a way. They're just more receptive to it. So thank you all.
Right, I think it was Rachel who mentioned the character that she plays, or Rosie plays, used to take off the shirt. You had all the shirts and you took
One
each
by one, you would
one
take
by
them
one.
off. Yeah.
And were you there when that?
I was there when she did it once, and it was just a wild laughter from the children. They're like,
Middle school,
I
right?
cannot
So
believe
she's
she's taking
taking
off her
something
shirt. Just like, can I watch this? Like, so shocked.
And that's when you go, oh yeah. It's a different demographic. So we switched it off and they put it on
Yeah.
instead. Let's talk about the genesis of the piece. Prince, how did this come about? And how did Jade kind of call you and tell you about doing this?
Yeah, well, thanks for coming, everybody. Appreciate your attention and being here. Jade is relatively new to East West. About how many months now?
I am almost at 3 months now at East West.
Yes, so this process started a little bit before Jade with the former arts education person at East West Players, Carolina San Juan. And she started this process last year. So they tour a Theater for Youth show every year. And for this year's tour, she had an idea that she came to me with and commissioned me to write. So I know that the play, in order to get school buy-in, is kind of being marketed as a play that deals mainly with bullying and things like that. But the actual genesis of the idea was the idea of toxic masculinity. So as you could probably tell, it's a little bit harder of a sell to kind of get buy-in from middle schools and high schools, because it's a very complicated subject that I've tried to kind of make acceptable and palatable to school age. So we started with that germ of the idea of toxic masculinity, and from there I started kind of, and then she also had the idea of dealing with the NFL somehow. So those were kind of like the basic ideas that I started with. And then she also said, aside from that, we thought that we wanted to kind of focus on this masculinity thing and have the protagonist be at least one guy, because when we tour shows to high schools, it's yes, they are kind of too cool for school, but especially the boys. Especially the boys, it's hard to kind of get on board. And then, so when I was thinking about that, I was like, we should start this play with a rap battle, because that's one way to get the boys on board. You just have like guys burning each other because they love that. And then I just kind of built it from there. The story of the brothers, and obviously, maybe not so obvious, but a lot of it comes from a very personal place as well. So just kind of developed from there. I was born in the Midwest, born in Indiana, so was one of the only Asian kids at my school. So kind of bringing a lot of that experience into what's happening here. So that's how it began.
Thank you. Thanks. And for our directors, this is the first time we're kind of having an opportunity to speak with designers. So, Effie and Sherry, do you want to briefly discuss your concept and what the process was like for you?
Yeah. So my concept about this piece really started with, in the beginning of the show, it's really about competition between the brothers. And I was thinking about bringing the graphic image of the football field, and it's really about the lines and how much you progress and how much you better than anybody else. And then the idea comes from, the original idea is the light's going to turn off at the end, to show kind of, it's no longer about the competition, it's no longer about the line that frames you in, it's more about individuality, what you choose to be. But it really works out in the end with this jersey idea. We collaborating with the costume, putting it on, and it just, to me, it feels like it's no longer about the game. It's more about these individuals that we bring up, not only the two characters, but also the Asian Americans in the history who choose to go into football. And it just becomes more humanized rather than a competition. And so that's kind of the idea around couple frames. Yeah.
So I think the biggest challenge about this kind of a play is there are people in everyday clothes, just like you guys are sitting in a house. They're dressed very similarly, but they're not their clothes. So they have to look like everybody else and have some kind of quality that I think the toxic masculinity should be evident somewhere in there when you look at Betty's costume. That there's this, things are tight, you can tell that he's muscular, he's got all the power, physical power, and then you look at his brother, who has all the mental power. So they're trying to trade off on this. And then the trick of jerseys that have to go, originally that went off off and now go on. This is the first time I've seen it with them going on. Last time I saw it, the jerseys came off. And I think technically it's probably more difficult to put them on than take them off because you have to get it back on. But it becomes important that you get some image for the teams these people played for and that these were real people. Unfortunately, these jerseys aren't the jerseys of those actual football players. And that's strictly financial. But they're right too.
We had a massive budget.
Yeah, big budget for it. Then you also have the interesting thing of this science project of a football helmet that can take the blows and that. And the actual piece that is at the end is one of the ways that they tried to solve that problem. So if we want to go out and hit him over the head with a hammer now,
We're safe to do so.
Where's the?
it's in the corner.
It's on my side.
Hand it over. Look at that. How fun is this? This is Matthew O'Connor's football helmet, by the way. So, yeah. One of our majors in football. Here you go. You can.
Thank you.
Cal Poly Pomona.
Cal Poly.
I teach
The inferior.
Jay, thanks to Jay. Yeah, I think for people who will be writing or directing, doing design or acting in touring shows, especially TYA, it's a huge market, for young audiences, right? So it has to be portable. So how do you create this universe that could be put in a van, which is upstairs right now? And this is a really portable piece of production. So we have about like 7-10 minutes. There's some cookies outside for y'all and have some punch. So let's open it up for the audience. Any questions or comments? Christina, Professor
Okay, so this is mostly for Chris, but also for everyone. So we've already heard about the unintentional striptease that you had to work around. Were there other things that that surprised you once this actually got in front of a live audience about your expectations for the piece versus the way it was received by the students?
I think that's a better question for them. I've actually been doing theater for youth my entire career.
So nothing surprises you anymore?
Well, yeah, so this is, I've written 7 shows for elementary schools that have toured continuously for like the past 10 years. And this is my 3rd high school, middle school show. And yes, I think early on, man, there was a huge learning curve in terms of like what kids are going to respond to, what they're not going to respond to, what they get, what they don't get, what they like, what they don't like. So I think that I tried to foolproof the script based on sort of like my knowledge. So I'll give you an example. So for example, there's a moment near the end where Benny kneels down and then Rachel's character breaks the 4th wall and says, "This is the moment that Benny started to cry." I think there was a question at one time during rehearsal. It's like, well, why didn't he just cry? Why have that moment? And it's because that I knew that the kids are very adverse to any kind of sentimentality, and that a kind of like a moment that's too real like that would have just totally not worked. So it's like, okay, how do I have my cake and eat it too? Have that moment, but then not have the kids like start laughing at him because he's crying on stage, right? But I think that there must be other things that you all were surprised by in watching the show. So
There's a couple.
Yeah.
We learned when we went to a middle school that we shouldn't say the word gay because, as you guys know, like, we're obviously saying that that's wrong to say, but for 4th graders, they just think it's so funny. And so we were like, okay, if we're in front of 4th graders, we can't.
Oh, they're 6th grade.
Well, 6th graders, yeah. We shouldn't say that word. We should replace certain words. And also, like, kids these days just have a different language, So, like, I think Prince, you wrote in, like, oh, but use extra for you. And I remember when I was sitting in the front row hearing this, watching a show, all the kids were like, no, he's not extra, he's random. and so for one of the shows afterwards, you changed it to random, and they loved it. They were like, he knows what random is? Like, whoa.
Any other comments or questions?
I love to describe reviews. I have a 12-year-old.
Claire.
This is a question for Sherry. So from the costume perspective, like what was it like tackling the narrator character? Because like you switch in and out of so many different roles and figuring out how to differentiate, but then also like how did you play that character? Playing that character, what was that like?
Well, you can only do one thing, because you can see how fast she has to change, and she has no way to hide. You guys were pretty straight on, but if you're a little bit to the side, you can watch what's going on. So you find one important thing, and I think Prince had suggestions of what would determine each character, and we kind of played around with a couple of them, but something that would give the essence of who that character was. Like the pom-poms make it pretty clear she's a cheerleader, but to go from the mother to her to the science teacher. So I haven't seen a science teacher in high school wear a white lab coat more recently, but I think it's something that we put with science. So you find an image that people will recognize, and that'll carry a long way and quickly.
Yeah, as far as playing all the different characters, I think when I was preparing for this role, I was thinking of like, okay, all these characters need to be distinct, right? So how can I make them, especially because it's for a young audience, how can I almost make them like a caricature of a person? You know, so like I'm a caricature of what a lab teacher would actually look and sound like. I've never had a teacher like that. You know, like what a mom would look and sound like, or a football coach. Like you'd probably never have a football coach that would be that terrible. You know, and so like it's just thinking of like how can I make this person bigger so that I'm overemphasizing what their essence is.
We have time for, yes, Karen.
I was just wondering, because this is a piece that has a lot of scorched moments that resonate with like Asian American communities, and especially like about like the responsibility of the first male child and stuff like that. I really felt that. I was wondering, do you mostly perform with like the target audience of an Asian American male in mind, or how do you kind of navigate the piece for a more diverse audience that doesn't include as many Asian Americans?
Often what I talk about with the teachers and the students as well, because I tend to also lead the Q&As afterwards, depending. But I try to gear it towards, a lot of the schools in general have not been high in the Asian American population. Some of them have, like Matt had said, my alma mater actually was high in Vietnamese, Filipino, and Mexican demographic. But a lot of the time, no, they're more, it's more Latinx and Black folks. So we try to emphasize more on the toxic masculinity part in a way that is like more easily digestible for the kids. So I try to talk more about like, why is this person mean? Why is the brother so horrible? Why is he mean to? Trying to help them navigate through those specific relationships. And then when we get to a school like St. Joseph or soon we'll be at Monterey Park Boys and Girls Club, then I will talk more specifically for the Asian American influences in this play, but I still try to make it as inclusive as possible in the Q&As.
I think what's really cool about this piece is it's kind of, it's touching on so many different levels, aside from, you know, someone who's not really into the binary world, but is still triggered and traumatized by it. And it's a very, in many ways, it's a heteronormative piece, and that's the whole point of the toxic masculinity aspect of it. But with that in mind, for someone who relates to it as an Asian and as a Hispanic, machismo is palpable in this world, right? And so how do we get to dismantle something like that when you have a demographic who looks slightly different from you, right? It's this like shared experience that you may have. I could speak on that essence, but also at the same token, you are dismantling this whole idea in the Western confluence and world of the feminization of the Asian male that only exists in actually Western countries, because you go to Asia and it's patriarchal and it is toxic, right? So in the United States, there's still this whole idea of the feminization of the Asian male. So it's layered in what Prince has done is kind of like, it kind of gives you like this like, mind fuck as a young kid. You're like interrogating so many levels of like, but he kind of sounds Latino and Black. I think that was a comment of a student, right?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, but he's butch. That's not Asian. But at the same token, right, you're kind of dismantling this idea of patriarchy in so many levels. So that's a great question. So that's my take on that. One more question before cookies. Or comments. Professor Bronco.
I would like to say that I thought the production, in every way, from the writing of the play, to the designing, to the direction, and to the acting, all of it was highly successful. And I think it was so successful, first of all, because it's so original. You brought all kinds of originality into your concepts, into the writing, and into the performing. And secondly, I'm going to say three things, but I'm going to forget what they all three are by the time first is originality. The second is humor. And I thought you brought this wonderful sense of humor into the whole thing, which makes it much more appealing to an audience of any kind. Even I, from '91, looking back on all of this, I can get into it too. And the third thing is the energy. It is so important in the theater. And you were all just so engaged and energetically engaged. So I applaud you for that and congratulate you all for this wonderful performance.
Thank you. Well, thank you. Let's give them another round of applause. Let's give all of our people over here cookie time and get to know these people. Kiki with them, ask them where they're from. Directors who will be released right after you get your cookies. Yay!